Thank you all for choosing my beginner guitar course. Today, we'll cover the third tuning method. Before we start learning guitar, we need to tune our strings first. i.e., then your sound will be really off. Earlier, we learned it. The thinnest guitar string is called the first string, and the thickest is the sixth string. So, before we start tuning, we first need to understand the pitch of each string. Now, open to page 19 in our book. On page 19, label. Look at the first 6 strings. They're notes C, B, G, D, I, E. The first string is E. Second string is B. Third string is G. Fourth string is D. Fifth string is A. Sixth string is E. Now that we know standard pitches of 6 strings, let's move on to how many ways are there to tune a guitar? First, keyboard instrument tuning. That includes pianos and electronic keyboards. This method requires that you have one at home or where you tune. Not everyone has one though, so we don't really recommend this method. Just keep that in mind. Pitch comparison method. Pitch comparison. You're comparing pitches. We'll explain this next. Another way is tuning with a pitch pipe. Detector low into the pitch pipe to sound the pitch that matches a string. Then you tune your string to that pitch. This is the pitch pipe tuning method. Nowadays, hardly anyone uses it. First, the device to blow into is something you carry, so hygiene can be a concern. It's mostly good to just know it. Another method is harmonic tuning. The harmonic tuning method. To tune the strings using the harmonics between the strings. Also a type of comparison tuning. Alright. Then there's also tuning with an electronic tuner. For beginners, tuning with an electronic tuner is the best choice, even if you're not a beginner and play gigs regularly. If you use different tuning ear methods, because live settings can be noisy. So when you tune, you might not get an exact tune. When tuning with an electronic tuner, especially with a tuner clipped to the headstock, it filters out much of the background noise, so you can quickly and accurately tune your strings. For beginners using pitch comparison, you have to hear the pitch difference between 2 notes. Since we're just starting out with this instrument, we don't have any formal music training, can't really tell the difference. That's why electronic tuners are especially handy and practical. So today's lesson mainly covers tuning with an electronic tuner and pitch comparison tuning. For everything else, just check the introduction in the book. You could also tune using a keyboard. Pianos need tuning too, which you probably already know. That means if you can't be sure that the piano you're tuning with is actually out of tune, which is why it's not recommended. We've learned the 6 strings. D, D, G, D, A, D. Now, let's look at what E, B, J, J, A, and G mean. Let's take another look. This is page 19 of the book. I wrote down the note names. C, D, F, G, A, B, C. They correspond to solfege syllables. Do, re, mi, F, fa, sol, la, si, do. So, these capital letters are the note names. Now about these note names. For example, look at this. The solfege do matches the note C. This is the common do C. That means C is the second note. This shows a sequence with C as the second note. Alright, as for the note names on the keyboard, their position. What about solfege syllables? If no note names, and just hear someone ask what key to tune to, you wouldn't know. If someone asks you where this note is on the piano, you wouldn't know either. If you know the note names, you can easily find its position. There's also the pitch range, but we'll skip that for now. Now let's list the note names and solfege syllables for C and D. This helps you see which notes are higher or lower. You can think of it as bigger or smaller. Right now, within this pitch range, left is lower, right is higher. For example, D is left of C, so D is higher than C. F is to the right of E, so F is higher than E. A is left of B. A is lower than B. By how much? We use whole and semitones. There's a semitone between E and F. There's a semitone between B and C. Since the note names and solfege syllables match up, the intervals should be the same. That means the Mi and Def Fa notes they correspond to are a semitone apart, because Mi and Def Fa match E and F. But B to C and C to D are also semitones, since they correspond. The others are all whole tones. Remember this. So how do we show semitones and whole tones? A semitone is to adjacent frets. For example, the first fret on the first string is fret 1. Then the second fret is fret 2. The distance between them is a semitone. This is called a skipped fret. If you go from fret 1 to fret 3 with fret 2 in between, that's a whole tone. And from the open string to the first fret is a semitone. From the open string to the second fret is a whole step. We'll cover this in more detail later on. Just remember, right is higher pitch, left is lower. Now let's talk about tuning with an electronic tuner. First, turn on the tuner. Your tuner might be the type that sits in front of you, but I suggest getting a clip minus on tuner. Clip minus on tuners are very affordable. They're easy to carry too. They usually have 1 or 2 buttons. Press and hold, or press and hold again. That just turns it on and off. It doesn't work just by turning it on. That's because these tuners usually work for several instruments, so you have to switch the mode to the right one. Some tuners just show the English word guitar, but they can't display it in Chinese, so they just show the English. Some even abbreviate it as a capital G. The O mean guitar. Some tuners also let you switch to C. C actually stands for chord. Don't tune it to start at B. Or you, or anything like that. That's real. Alright, when tuning strings for first time, if you just changed strings, or if you're first time tuning, you should loosen the strings a bit more than usual. Like I said, notes are different octaves. They come in different octaves. To avoid focusing only on the higher pitch on the right, which is already an octave higher, you might still think it's not there yet, but the string will snap. If you loosen the string, this won't happen. Then, if you've already tuned it, and adjusting pitch, since the guitar will need tuning again in a few days, small pitch adjustments aren't a big deal, because the detuning won't be that noticeable, or severe. Okay, when we change strings. Nick also said to start tuning from the low strings, if your strings are loose. Starting on the wrong string can break them. Let's start unboxing. The tuner's now on. That's because the strings are loose. This is why some say after getting a guitar, why won't my guitar sound right? You just didn't tune your strings right. Look, it's showing D now. Our 6th string should be tuned to E. Notice that D is to the left of E. This means the note hasn't reached E yet. So the string is still a bit loose. Means the pitch is a bit low. Tightening raises the pitch. Now it shows E. The 6 means the 6th string is tuned to E. But that doesn't mean it's perfectly in tune yet. See that pointer on the front? The pointer can be at the middle. Right now, the pointer is to the left. So what do left, right, and middle mean here? If it shows 6C, and the pointer is in the middle with the light on, C, this means it's in tune now. But if it shows 6C, and the pointer is left, it means the pitch is flat. So the note is almost at 6C now. It's still a bit low. Flute it. Watch as I turn it and the needle moves up. Now the screen has turned green. When it turns green, that means it's in tune. It shows E, and needle is center. Sometimes it moves a bit. If it keeps swinging no matter how you adjust it, your tuner is just too cheap. They're knockoff tuners. Like those cheap tuners that cost around $10. You'll just keep going back and forth, because you keep getting caught in it. It's just not accurate. You really get what you pay for. Alright, the 6th string is tuned. Now, let's tune the 5th string. When loose, it makes a buzzing noise. Turn no more than half the time each time. Don't tighten it too much all at once. If your needle shows A, that means your pitch is too high. Alright, that's the G string tuned. Now let's move on to the 4th string. Look, it shows D on the 4th string and turned green. I just explained why, when you tune for the first time, if your guitar has new strings, you need to loosen them a bit, then tighten it again. For example, if you don't loosen them, and not experience, if you keep tightening past this D, from D to E, F, G, A, B, C, and finally up to the next D, the string will break before you get there. This isn't just about broken strings or muted notes. It can also damage your playing technique. If an experience, and this isn't just a minor tune minus up. By pitch correction, I mean you've tuned it before, and only making minor adjustments. It won't be far off. But if it's your first time tuning, loosen your strings. Loosen fully. Keep loosening until it shows a D. Alright, tune the 3rd string. Look, some tuners. So what I'm saying is, I just picked any tuner. At random. I'm not bashing any tuner, or promoting any of them. Some show random reading. Look, it shows A then D. Showing A, then D again. Do you know what it is? It's flickering everywhere. See, it shows A first, and you'll think I need to tune the G, but now it's sharp, so loosen the string. Then, after loosening, you'll see it switches between D and A. This note just keeps jumping around. This is one, where the tuner isn't accurate enough. It means it's low quality. Another reason is that this note is in a lower octave. It's coming. It's a lower octave. Keep tuning it up, because it sounds too slight to play. Now a T. The tuner. Okay, that works. Alright, let's tune the 2nd string to B. Look, it's showing G. We need to check that G is left of B. Keep turning. A is still left in it. Keep turning. A now reads B. But it's showing flat now. Tighten a bit more. Okay? Now it's lit. That's in tune. Okay, let's tune the E string to E. Look, it shows D now. D and D are still off. Be careful tuning the E string, don't turn too fast. The E string breaks easiest, especially if you use cheap, low minus quality strings that break even faster. Even okay? We've now tuned from the 6th string to the high E. Does this mean your string is in tune? No. Hear that? The sound is still off. It's messed up, not right. So, why is that? Because if we don't tune the guitar, after tuning, pitch changes again as string tension shifts, goes out of tune again. So we need to keep tuning. Usually about 3 times, by 2nd round.
See? It's gone out of tune.
You can play it, but it's still not quite perfect. Mute the string after tuning it, or it will cause interference. Now it's in tune. If you just change the string, playing it a bit more may still cause it to shift. Tune it again. Now, let's look at tuning by pitch comparison. This is on page 20 of our book. First, we need a reference pitch. For example, we'll use the low string as reference note. The first string stays locked as a reference. But if your string is too flat, this method won't work. So, this tuning method requires you to have some basic pitch recognition skills. First, have a rough idea if the first string is in tune. If you have no clue at all, this method won't work for you. Okay, let's use it as a reference note. Then, using that reference, we'll tune the second string. How? Match the second string's fifth fret to the open first string. So, press down the second string at the fifth fret. Then, compare the two notes to see if they match. If you compare them and realize they sound different, then listen to figure out which one is higher or lower. If you think the second string sounds lower, tighten the second string a bit. If you think second string sounds higher, loosen the second string a bit. Keep adjusting until they sound the same. This means the second string at the fifth fret matches the open first string. If you've tuned them and they sound the same, then both strings are in tune. Actually, whether a guitar is in tune, it also means whether the strings are in tune with each other. There's a standard method for tuning like this. There's also a method that tunes down a semitone. You see? Then as long as the six strings are correctly tuned to each other, then it will sound harmonious. Okay, once these two strings are in tune, we use the second string to tune the third, because the second string was tuned using the first. So, how do we tune the third string? It's in the book. We need to match the note at the fourth fret of the third string with the open second string. Just compare the two notes. If they sound different, listen to see which is higher or lower. If the third string is flat, tighten it slightly. Match it to the second string's open note. If the third string is sharp, loosen it. Tune them to match. Don't adjust the second string. What? This makes sense. We just tune the second string. Okay, once in tune, these three strings are now in tune. Now use a third string to tune the fourth string. The fourth string at fifth fret and third string open note should be the same. If they're different, whether lower or higher, you can only adjust the fourth line, not third string. It's the same logic as before, since you've already tuned it. Okay, once the fourth string's done, tune the fifth string. Match the fifth string's pitch at the fifth fret to the fourth string's open note. If you notice they're different, compare their pitch, then adjust the fifth string. You can only adjust the single string. Alright, once the fifth string is tuned, move on to the sixth. Match the pitch of the sixth string at the fifth fret to the open fifth string. If they don't match, adjust the sixth string. After you've compared all the strings, and all six strings are in tune, then check them again. See if there's still any difference. All this is explained in books. Let me quickly review it for you. The first string is the high E. The second string at the fifth fret matches the open first string. Third string, fourth fret matches the open second string. Fourth string, Fifth fret matches, open third string. Fifth string, fifth fret matches, open fourth string. Sixth string, fifth fret matches, open fifth string. This is pitch matching tuning. After some practice, you'll be able to master it. You need to hear the difference between the two pitches. With more practice and listening, you'll improve. Another method is harmonic tuning. Harmonic tuning is on page 21 of our book. Besides the electronic tuner method, the harmonic tuning method is introduced. Also using another string as reference pitch. Then tuning each string using harmonics. But